Welcome back to The Watch, and TikTok could be banned. By now, potentially.
Yes. It's been passed, the bill to...
Yeah.
But the banning is... So, my current understanding, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is can you even access TikTok still in the US?
Yeah, I think there's a time frame, but basically what the US government has said is that the company of TikTok needs to have more US ownership, basically. They need to remove the Chinese party to then have it not be banned in the US.
Because I've heard that they've now basically have some type of court order or whatever to sell it to a US, interested company now. Now, when you say, does that mean only like the management and then their parent company still have a stake in it? I don't.
I think they want to remove the Chinese portion of the company that owns it and have it be US owned instead.
What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, there's so many... Just saying that, Shad, is I want to be brief with this, but also there's lots to talk about. I think there's a few sides to it. There's the government control side to it, which I think doesn't matter, because either way, people owning your private data is terrible, whether it is the Chinese government or the US government.
I would say it's worse that the Chinese government has it.
But then there's also the things that... what are the people in charge? What are they called?
CEOs, government.
The government. What are they? Congress.
Congress.
What Congress says and does sometimes just makes me feel so sorry for US citizens, because they're obviously more elderly people who don't know the jargon or the lingo, or they don't make it look good what they're doing. Like they're not very convincing of their ideas. Like there's been videos going around of them asking the CEO of TikTok, "Are you Chinese?"
I know, right?
And he goes, "No, I'm Singaporean." "Oh, so you're Chinese? That's in China, right?" And obviously there's just things there where we kind of go, "Congress, you're not looking good." And they say things. I've seen them go, US citizens don't know because you haven't been in the private rooms we've been in. You're the secret information that we know, but we've seen it. Like, basically, trust me, bro, type of ideology.
Yeah.
So there's that side to it where I'm like, I don't care who owns the information. I just don't like people owning information, period. Because even the US government, they say, China can give you propaganda. It's like, and you don't do that either? Like,
yes,
they're both really bad.
What are your thoughts on the observations people had about the TikTok recommendations in China versus the TikTok recommendations in the US?
Like in terms of them being different? Or...
Yes, that the Chinese kind of recommendation algorithm seems to promote educational content and content that help people become better in terms of functioning members of society, whereas the feeds in the US seems to be a woke hellscape. There's a reason why libs of TikTok exists.
It's funny because being someone who actually uses TikTok, I will say that TikTok has the algorithm I feel like YouTube had back in the 2010s.
Really?
Because as much as there are liberal, woke, progressive things, the amount of based people get recommended, like what people do a lot on TikTok is basically reposting or like reacting to videos. So they'll have a portion of the video that sometimes it's a trend. Recently, I've been one where this is one guy talking about, why all these young men being conservatives? Like, this is terrible for society, and the US schools need to do better. And then you can basically butt into the video and then give your take. And a lot of people will give their takes. I think there's really good discourse people can have on TikTok. Now, talking about propaganda and maybe people who might be given certain videos in the algorithm, for example, like the Chinese people are given educational videos or videos that might promote certain state values. I also think that just depends on the person, because obviously people who live in China are going to be proud of the country and want to be good citizens, and there's this mindset of the algorithm changing to do that. For example, I don't know how to tell you this.
Lay it on me, Nathan.
My friend who is gay has a very different TikTok to me.
Yes.
And he's not searching things or doing things, but obviously people who are of different mindsets have different interests. And the algorithm has found out through, okay, I might watch more baking videos, I'll watch more gaming. Like, because of the videos he watches, they're able to really hone in on who you are as a person.
Are you telling me the computer figured out his game?
Yes! Without him actually saying it. Or like, because obviously people who have certain preferences in life will have different, like they know.
I know, yeah. That's the funny thing, because there's been like backlash when people try to say, how dare you assume someone is this or that or anything, when sometimes it's crazy what AI can figure out. Let's just say, like,
algorithms are smart. They work off of patterns and basically if-else statements. Because for me, they know I'm not, because that's funny. Without me even looking at conservative things, like, you know, what the mainstream stuff would be considered conservative or right-leaning, I will get people who would just like say a reaction to something. I I like that. I watch more of their stuff. And it gets recommended more and more. And so now, in terms of my feed, I get gaming stuff, game dev stuff, but then also like cooking stuff. I get car mechanic stuff. I just like watching it. Yeah. And the same with conservative things. Like, I get that too. And as well, in terms of location, I will get more like Aussie, Melbourne comedians. Like when something happens, like when we have an earthquake or political stuff happens, I will get recommended that stuff because it knows where I am based on my viewing habits.
You raised some very good points about that, and you might have actually convinced me that that's probably what could be happening more often. So one thing, though, that does kind of push back a little bit that I've had experience with TikTok is the type of censorship that happens on TikTok. And because I tried uploading content on TikTok, and the content actually did really well. We've got Shadiversity videos, over 100,000 subscribers on TikTok and things. Make no money on it, and ultimately wasn't really helping out.
Yeah.
And so we kind of given up, but it's still, you know, we got the subscribers there. We might put content out there now and then in the future, right? But TikTok has taken down certain videos for bizarre reasons sometimes.
Yes.
Like bonkers, overly protective reasons. Like, I have a classic rant about nunchucks. That nunchucks are basically, you know, disabled sticks and stuff like that. Got taken down. Bit too ableist, kind of was the impression.
Yes. I mean, TikTok people know that there are certain trigger words. Like they'll say life stopping instead of other words because those words just trigger. You can't say, like, for example, if we were to talk about like medieval stuff in terms of wars and death and tragedy, a lot of those trigger words will just claim your video.
And my experience is TikTok was actually far more censorious than YouTube.
Yes.
Like my nunchuck rant is up on YouTube fine, and there were even just weird kind of things that I thought it might have been edging onto violent content because of swords chopping, you know, stuff, right? That they've taken down as well. And so already I'm cautious when a platform is already too censorious, and the censorship seems to be going more in one direction than another because people like the Quartering have put stuff on TikTok and they basically got banned. And there are other people who push back against woke stuff that seem to get banned. And I haven't seen a lot of the ultra crazy woke stuff that Libs of TikTok puts out, never getting banned seemingly on TikTok. So that seems to be an issue that's real.
Yeah, I can see TikTok definitely being more for the DEI sort of stuff because it's just more corporate. Like they are a massive entity, and obviously all they want really is more money. And when big, you know, backings of people say, hey, do this thing to get more money, they're going to do it. In terms of the like censorship and stuff, that happens a lot. Like I will like a video and save it for later to show someone, like Tyrant, and then when I go to show them, it's been taken down because it was too edgy or whatever. Like it happens a lot. And even like videos when they do like behind the scenes for movies and stuff, they'll have a little disclaimer saying, you know, this is all done by professionals, that sort of thing. So obviously their policies are very different to YouTube.
Now, in terms of data collection that seemingly, you know, TikTok is doing and feeding to China, all the platforms are doing data collection. And one of the interesting ways that they can do this that a lot of people are actually unaware of in terms of being able to figure out, like, if someone might be gay or not, right? It can even track the amount of time it takes for you to click on suggested videos. And if you clicked on a video, so the click isn't just a click, but if you clicked on it fast, that meant, oh, they were really interested in this, right? It can even track if you put the cursor or even hover over a video and consider it, right? It can collect all of that stuff. And so even if like there's a thumbnail with a sexy woman that you pause for a couple of seconds on
And then keep scrolling.
It's like,
They know.
we saw that, right? But it can collect that level of data.
Yeah.
Yeah. And figure out a lot about people. Gee, like, it's tricky for me where like, what do I think about? Is that moral to do, to collect data on a user base? And the justification is to try and find out what users are interested in to make a better, viewing experience. But it also enables them to know how to manipulate people.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's just a level of ethics in this sort of, because like Facebook has done it, Twitter's done it in the past as well. And like, even then there's obviously the line of, how people are using the platform. There's even things like adding contacts. The amount of times TikTok says, add your contacts to get people you know. I don't care for that. Because one, those are my private contacts. You don't need to know about them. And two, I don't want them to know what I watch on TikTok. Like that's not with me. And there's like a line of like, okay, I'm okay with, if China does own this, I'm okay with them knowing that I watch funny cat videos and...
I think that's simplifying it too much.
Like, there's obviously more elements to stuff, but I, as a person as well, I'm very careful with what I like to think, at least, more careful than usual in what I do on the internet.
See, because, yes, but I think there is certain types of... you say personal data, but people don't really understand what... Like, personal data is stuff that you don't freely give to a company. When you sign the terms of service to use these platforms, you are actually consenting them to...
Yeah, do all the stuff.
Get data on you, and it's not private in the sense because that is you agreeing to give them the information of how you use that platform, which includes what you watch, how long you watch it, what you're interested in, and it tracks all of that. And I'm not necessarily saying it's a good thing. I think people just accept terms of service because convenience, they want to use it, and they're not really aware of what's going on with these platforms. But I use it anyway, because ultimately I think we're lazy and we don't care at the end of the day, even though it can be used for some legitimately nefarious things. I think there is a lot of types of data that these social media platforms are able to collect that then can be used in nefarious ways that could affect elections and the way information is sent and consumed. And that's why I think having that data being more easily fed into the hands of a country that does not have the most positive, beneficial, hopes for other countries, I don't think is necessarily good.
Well, I'll go to prison for this, I don't know. I don't think the government should have most information on their, citizens.
I agree.
I think the only time, and this is me just thinking out loud, is if there is data that is clearly illegal. So things like terrorism or stuff that is obviously violent and illegal and bad practice. That's when the government should say, okay,
content that's abusive.
Hey, Facebook, give me the information so we can shut that person down and stop that thing from happening. But in terms of, people who might disagree politically or, like you're saying before, with elections and stuff, that's when it's like, all right, I don't want anyone to own that data because that's manipulating people into viewing and thinking in a certain way.
I don't think there's a solution to it necessarily, but I do think limiting potential enemies' access to that information is at least a better option than just having them have free reign. The thing is, though, I would not put it past Facebook and YouTube, Google, Twitter to sell data
to anyone,
including China. I would almost. I would be very easy for me to believe if China was just paying a consultancy firm to get access to analytics that Facebook or Google have, and it's easily sellable resources that Google is collecting, and if they want money. Of course, and I don't think Google, Disney, I don't think they have very much loyalty to countries at all. It's all about money. Yeah. There's a reason why Disney has been courting the Chinese audience so much, and they literally have employees that are full card-carrying members of the Chinese Communist Party, right?
Yeah.
And they're happy to work with people that support evil Disney gave credit to the province that had the human rights violation. What were the camps, the concentration camps? When it was Mulan. The film was filmed in the province area that had that, and they thanked that area for allowing them access where they literally having concentration camps as well. These companies are not moral. In fact, I go so far. I think Disney is an evil company now, actively supporting evil. And one of the primary things that they have is money and power, but primarily power is, I think, the main thing that they want, as well as some of them are activists that actually think that there's a utopia that they want to achieve, and the means justify the ends in that regard. But anyway, in regards to their loyalty and keeping the information, I don't think they have that qualm. The government might be able to find out if they're selling information to potential enemies and crack down on it. And that would be a more appropriate role of government, because obviously there is a point where regulation is needed, even in a free market.
Yes.
Okay. I am a free market capitalist, all that, right? But regulation does have to happen in some measure. Having said all that, even though it might not necessarily solve the issue, if you could at least make it more difficult for China to get the information, that might be why I am more okay with this ban, even though I do have some issues with it. And that's a government coming in and saying to a company, you are not allowed to exist in our country, or forcing company to sell and stuff like that, which is a government interfering in free market kind of processes.
And my other thing too is, if it gets banned, I reckon a US company is going to make a competitor, basically, because TikTok's now gone, and it's going to be a lesser, worse one that's going to sell information to the government instead. Like, it's going to do the exact same thing, but just
there could be
all the right things.
There could be a silver lining, right? If a more free speech-minded company buys TikTok, and then because it has a large user base already and content and the infrastructure there, they could potentially repackage it as a more viable competitor to YouTube, and I'd be okay with that.
Maybe.
I don't think it'll happen.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to, China has the little hands in TikTok. They don't want to let go.
Exactly. Aren't they saying we're not selling?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so even though there's this order that they have to sell it to, so like the Chinese government has been pushing back, but the bullcrap that they've been trying to spew, and I mean, I say bullcrap, I mean hypocrisy. Some of the higher up at TikTok, something like that, had the goal to try and say freedom of expression and stuff like that from China, right? It's like, you guys are the most censorious tyrants around at the moment. They're up there. This is the thing. People don't really know this. Like, in terms of human rights violations and freedoms of people, China is not that far behind North Korea.
They're not.
But because it had so many people are forced to do business with them because of the manufacturing capacity in China, and then of course there's money to be made in China because of the population, they're willing to ignore that part. We'll have like what is it when they put in like you're not allowed to do business with a certain country? There's some type of, I forget the name of it, when trade regulation restrictions, right? Because that's in place with North Korea. You can't do business with North Korea in several capacities, right? They'll put those in, but not with China. Even though China's almost as bad, but it's because
there's things to gain from it. Yeah.
Sanctions. I think that's what I was trying to. They'll put in place trade sanctions. And then China comes out, has the goal to say, "Oh, look at how awful America is with free speech." Fucking hypocrites! Shut up. Oh, it's just manipulation tactic to try and get them to keep it, because they don't want to let go of TikTok, which makes you wonder.
I mean, it's a massive platform.
Well, the thing is, they have flat out lied. Like I said, oh, this data isn't going to the Chinese government, and then shown that it is, right? Like there is nefarious stuff happening with TikTok, with its data, and with China. That's like what I said, why I say there is issues there that justify this type of regulation for national security interests, because I do believe that some type of regulation is necessary. Having said that, look, this could be me just being completely misled, because I don't like the government bullcraps all the time, right? And maybe this could be a case of them finding a convenient excuse for additional government overreach. Oh, the world sucks at the moment.
Initially, because in Australia, we basically copy the US.
Yeah.
So because this has happened, I reckon our government
will then ban TikTok as well.
And then I'm going to have nothing to do at 9 o'clock at night instead. I have to watch shorts, which they're not good.
Shorts are crap.
TikTok is better, but, I guess I'll just read a book or something else.
Which was such a terrible option.
Well, I'm just saying, since they removed YouTube's algorithm being so good back in the 2010s was so good with YouTube. The rabbit holes had to go down with informational stuff. I've had that with TikTok for a minute. The TikToks I watch now are more than a minute long. They're 5-10 minute TikToks now. And I'm just sad that we're losing that. That's all the other stuff you can write on, in terms of data and privacy and governments and wars and all that sort of stuff. I just want a platform where I can watch content that I enjoy that also recommends me more stuff that I enjoy.
Yeah.
That's all I've been wanting.
YouTube search and discovery for new content has been dog crap lately, specifically this year.
Yeah.
I've already been talking about on Shadiversity something changed that has just destroyed Shadiversity's videos, search and discoverability to new viewers. Something changed, which is just destroy. And we're not the only ones who knows. Heaps of channels have made videos saying, "Holy crap, something's gone wrong."
Yeah.
Okay, views are off a cliff, and so all the people trying to justify or validate their criticisms of me as an individual try to say it's the content. Was no, the content's great. We recently had a video on Shadiversity that's had nearly 500,000 views. And even with the video with nearly 500,000 views, nearly no new subscriber growth. That shouldn't be the case, right? Something is broken at the moment, and it's totally screwing over many channels, including Shadiversity. And something else that I've been noticing, my recommendations have been dog crap. I've been getting recommended videos that have 25 views. 100-something views, and people might think, especially if people oh, that's great for the small creators. Not if the content sucks and you're not interested in watching it.
Yeah,
those are recommendations for content I do not care about. Right? Once upon a time, views on a video was actually a type of validation that, hey, this is a good video. Not necessarily anymore. And then once upon a time, when you did get a recommended video that had low views, it was clearly something you were interested in because, and you would click on it. I'm getting recommended content of channels and topics that I do not freaking care about. And there's actually been an odd influx of them. Have you noticed that? Because
I've been getting more in my search when I'm looking for stuff, I'll just recommended stuff completely off topic from my watch history.
Really?
So I'll watch a meme or video and then I'll look up, how to clean a sword, and then there'll be just random meme videos all throughout, unrelevant
the
stuff.
search is absolutely stuffed at the moment. You do a search, you only get 3 to 5 relevant videos, and then dog crap.
Yeah,
irrelevant
basically,
nonsense.
History and recommendations just merged into it, which means now I just search through Google.
It's so broken at the moment.
So I don't think it's going to improve, and that's why I'm sad, because at least with TikTok, there was for example, as well, TikTok ads are way, way less than what we get with YouTube. You'll get, you can swipe straight away, and they probably come every 5 to 8 videos is when you get an ad. And where now on YouTube, it's sometimes I'm getting 3 ads a night, and I just turn it off and do something else because
shorts have also been so damaging to this platform. Not only with the algorithm recommendations being funneled away from larger content that actually supports creators and stuff like that, I do think it's affecting, especially younger generations, appeal for certain types of content. They're being trained by getting fed so many shorts to have shorter attention spans and to not actually want to absorb longer form information or even just longer form entertainment. It's breaking people's brains, Nathan.
My issue I had, because remember the other night I tried watching shorts, and after 5 shorts, it showed me the same shorts again. And I just wasn't getting our new stuff. So
I've never been caught on the short flick next thing because it's a complete random whatever the hell, and most times of the time it's crap.
Yeah. See, with TikTok, at least I found that they give me stuff that I want. On YouTube, I have to search up now what I want to find and watch that, or go through Reddit, which I hate going to Reddit, but sometimes they've got suggestions there of things I want to watch. So
Yeah, like for me, I have not discovered any new content or content creators that I'm actually interested in watching, even though it's been feeding me more new content than ever before. It just does not give a crap about what I'm actually interested in. By the way, this is a matter of record, right? That Susan Wojcicki is on record saying that instead of feeding people stuff that they want, they're going to feed people stuff that they want you to see. Okay? And it's baffling to me that people don't actually realize that is happening. And just to point it out, because I think more people need to remember that this is a matter of record, that Susan Wojcicki, and this is now a standard at YouTube. I need to read you the quote again. Where this all started, and not only has this been a practice at YouTube for ages, they've been doubling down and it's been getting worse, right? And so this is a quote from Susan Wojcicki, right? One of the bigger changes we made from our recommendation system, we realized that there was a set of content that even if people were repeatedly engaging with, that it was important to make the recommendations more diversified to show them more quality content alongside. So even if there was heaps of content that we're engaging with and liking, it was important that we showed them other content that we deemed was quality, right? Not stuff people were... So this is legitimately her admitting we're showing content that people are not engaging with as naturally and organically, but stuff that we think is better for you to see. We began to identify content that we called borderline content, and that if users were repeatedly engaging with this borderline content, we will show them other content alongside that we've ranked as more high-quality content. That right there, that last line is the key line that is the face-off, mask-off, moment, right? They rank content according to quality. Literally, videos, when they're uploaded, are ranked according to what meets their standards of quality content. And videos that have higher ranking get recommendations more. All right? And so when people say that, like, when I've seen distinct sharp drop in recommendations, say on Shadiversity, right? They say it's just the content. It's like, the content hasn't changed. And I've been getting constant messages of people who are interested in watching it, but thought I stopped uploading, right? It's because YouTube does have a blacklisting system where it literally ranks both content and creators on a rating of quality, their version of quality. They've admitted it. This is not conspiracy. This is how YouTube operates, okay? And this is not to say that borderline content, as they class, can't actually get traction. It just means it's far more difficult for that content to get traction. It needs to perform twice as better, 5 times better than content that is ranked higher in quality to actually get traction. That's why I do have the odd video on Shadiversity that can break through the suppression to get some decent tracking numbers on them. But that doesn't mean that the content isn't being suppressed when there are so many clear points of evidence that show that this is not on, right? This is not how recommendation, search, and discoverability happens organically, especially with my audience that I've grown over several years that are there, that want to watch the content and actively do when they get, as soon as they get recommended, they watch, right? And so it's frustrating that people still will try and deny this obvious truth. And it's just been getting worse. And so I don't know what the future is for YouTube. Maybe if, wouldn't it be great if someone bought TikTok that, because we need a competitor. That's the thing.
We do, but in this day and age, I don't trust any technology because I haven't seen any, even with the, OpenAI with ChatGPT and stuff. I've even noticed the quality of those models as well have gotten worse as well. I haven't seen in the past year any technology actually excite me or look good. Everything now just feels like the internet feels dead to me. There's the bots on on X and everything else. I'm a bit black-pilled on the internet, unfortunately, because
time to embrace the Amish.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, just live a wholesome life.
Yeah, just
in
be a farmer, build a house. Yeah.
The internet was a mistake, even though It's literally what pays our bills. It's like, we're in this like vicious cycle, Nathan.
I think that's why, you know, like tech companies, the CEOs, none of their kids go to schools with computers.
Really?
It's the same thing with like, you know, internet people just go, don't be on here. Just if you can go outside instead. It's a lot better out there than where you are right now. Yeah.
It'll probably come to that at some point. You know, I just make your home a place of security. That's what I try to do. Okay, that can weather the storms of the world as things aren't necessarily getting better. Sorry if this is a depressing video. That triggered us to go into certain places.
Yeah.
All worth discussing, though. And keeping an eye on, because that's what we do. Stay on watch.